Hello, everyone, and welcome. Time is 12:06 now, and our meeting is now streaming live on YouTube, which you should be able to see in that top left corner if you're on Zoom. So we'll get started with today's public hearing. My name is Ketcher Baden. I'm on staff with the State Board of Education. We also have with us our Executive Director, Alicia Williams. And although they're not signed into Zoom, we are aware of some board members and also representatives from the Arizona Department of Education who are watching the hearing live right now on that YouTube page. This is the time for the public hearing to provide an opportunity for individuals to express their views or concerns in a public setting on the proposed board rules regarding the Empowerment Scholarship Account Program. Of course, this is a virtual public hearing, so we want to lay out the rules of the road for this afternoon, which if you joined us for our previous hearing in July are largely the same as they were then. Board staff, myself, is going to call the first speaker along with the next two speakers after them. The entire order of people signed up to speak is on the next slide here on the PowerPoint, though we have, I think, 14 people registered to speak, which is I guess significantly less, so is a good way to put it, than what we had the first time. So we can be a little more freewheeling in how we jump around here than we were the first time because we don't have as many people to manage. When it is your turn to speak, staff will unmute you if you are not already unmuted. And if you're on Zoom, which I think all of us will be today, a little box is going to pop up that'll ask you to, if you want to be unmuted, and you'll need to click that box and you can begin your comments. You can ask us, as we did the last time, you can ask us if we can hear you, and we'll confirm that, and then we'll start the timer when you actually begin your comments. We understand with technology, not everything's going to work as smoothly as we'd like. So after we call on you, we'll give you a few moments to unmute yourself, realize it's your turn. If we don't hear from you after a few of those moments, we're going to have to move on though, but then we'll come back to you. Because there's so many less people, we'll be able to see if you're on Zoom. So we'll make sure we give you enough time to unmute yourself and know that you are here. There's just some issues, and make sure you have time to figure that out and provide your public comment. Each speaker is going to have no more than 3 minutes for the public comment. Now in the other hearing, I think you saw a timer up there. We won't have a timer displayed this time, but I'll have a timer going. And at the end of those 3 minutes, you'll hear that timer go off to let you know that your time has expired, and it'll sound something like this. At the end of that time, we'll ask you to conclude your remarks. Out of respect for everybody else, we do reserve the right to halt your remarks if you don't conclude it after those 3 minutes. Again, we're pretty lax on that. We do provide you some time to wrap up where you're at, especially again, because we don't have as many people. Hopefully we'll be able to get through that, but we do want to respect the other people's time. I mentioned we have 14 people signed up to speak today. If everybody does speak for those 3 minutes, that takes us to about an hour. We have plenty of time blocked off to get to everybody, but as standard practice, I have to always put out this disclaimer. We do reserve the right to limit the number of presenters if something unforeseen does occur. Again, we don't think that's going to be an issue today, but something we have to put out there just in case. Another reminder that this is just the time for public comment to hear from you. So neither board staff nor any board members are going to be responding to comments made during the hearing today. But we do have a more informal public forum that we're looking to schedule on September 11th. We had said earlier the week of September 8th. I think the 11th is looking good for us. We don't have a time set for that yet, but we'll make sure we communicate that out to you after this hearing. We didn't want to confuse with multiple invites. And at that informal hearing on the 11th, we'll be able to interact more freely and also have some folks from the Department of Education there as well to help with those interactions and exchange of information. But this meeting today, this hearing today is just solely for the opportunity for you to provide those public comments. The recording of this meeting and a summary will be provided to the board to follow up and provide the board with information on any issues that are raised. The chat function in this is available, but you'll only be able to chat directly to the host of the meeting, who's on board staff, and that is not me as the host of the meeting. So just use those for logistical questions or issues. Those will get filtered over to us, and we'll try to answer those as best we can. Because it's a public hearing, we just want to make sure we put all of the comments that you might have related to the issue on the record, and it becomes challenging to do that if we have the chat function open for things other than logistical questions. And then finally, just a reminder, again, the meeting is being live streamed, so please be mindful of that on YouTube and be respectful in your remarks. And we don't want to have to cut anybody off because they're being profane or disrespectful or what have you. So I think we have, I can see who's on here, and I won't go through the entire list. We'll probably display it later. But I think what we will do is, based on who I do see here, I'll just skip down to who we have, and then at the end of the meeting, I'll list off anybody else who's out there who maybe I missed. So based on who I see is available here and who registered for this hearing, first up will be Coco Lovejoy, then we'll have Joy Brownlee, then we'll have Kayla, and then we'll have Christina Manuel, and then Jenny Clark. I know that you let me know you might not be able to actually provide public comment. You might just be listening in, but we'll give you that opportunity at the end if you happen to carve out some time. And then following those folks, then I'll list off everybody else who registered to speak, but who I don't see, just in case we didn't miss you. So first up, that means we'll go to Coco Lovejoy. So Coco, you should be getting a notification to unmute yourself, and then you can begin your public comment.
Hi, do you hear me?
I do, yeah, go ahead.
Excellent. Good afternoon. In a letter from the Office of the Arizona Attorney General to the Goldwater Institute, dated April 11, 2017, the Attorney General's office stated that the ESA handbook does not consist of rules and therefore does not fall within the requirements of the Administrative Procedure Act. The ESA program, through its employees, requires those with an ESA account to treat the handbook requirements as rules they must comply with or risk losing access to their accounts. As of now, the Department of Education is applying the handbook as if its contents constituted rules, policies, and procedures as specified in the handbook. Here's a little story. On January 25th, 2020, a tired parent requested an approval for a set of flashcards, an approved expense, as is. Because she forgot they're approved. What happened next is what ESA parents deal with every single day, causing unnecessary stress, falling behind on their teaching schedule, having to play it by ear while waiting for an answer, and dealing with the cumbersome and time-consuming process of emailing ESA back and forth to no avail. The expense was denied. The parent remembered that the flashcards are an approved expense and sent an email quoting the handbook. To save time, we will call this employee David. So David only rejects the expense again. David not only rejects the expense again, but he goes into a power struggle with the parent, quoting the same handbook and asking the parent, and I quote, "What is the daily lesson plan associated with the product that will instruct the student?" This is outrageous, absurd, and overreaching. ESA cannot legally ask a parent to provide a daily lesson plan for an approved expense as it is. He follows this with, "Please refer to the ESA parent handbook when determining approved curriculum, pages 18 to 20. Which only tells us that David intentionally misled the parent and abused his position at ESA to make a capricious decision regarding the expense approved as it is. When the parent spotted the illegality of the reply and rejection, she asked for clarification. This cringy power trip goes on for a few more emails until David stops responding to the parent. Bear in mind that he never escalated the issue. He never offered to transfer the parent to another representative, and he never again replied. On January 28, Mom realizes she's ignored, so she escalates the situation to the brand new compliance manager, Carla Bravo, who responds on February 24th. And only after being specifically told by the director, Carla Escobar, that a parent is awaiting a response. In the email, she apologizes for replying late and no mention of the flashcards. But in the middle of all these dates, Mom is at the end of her patience and escalates her issue to Carla Escobar. She's doing a wonderful job. On February 18, that is almost a month after the initial request that hit a roadblock. 2 days later, Carla Escobar answers and approves the cards. Maybe it's just me, but I think that the ESA director has more important things to do than having to deal with entry-level employee issues for teaching reading comprehension. The takeaway is that a child was denied a time-sensitive material that he was supposed to study daily for the month of February, as the requested material was making more sense in the context of that month. Sadly, this is not an isolated story. This is the story of many ESA parents. We're in dire need for clear guidance, but the department keeps changing the rules and applying them arbitrarily and inconsistently. I hope the board will consider coming up with a solution to ensure all the ESA employees understand that the handbook is just a guideline and not a set of rules, and that when in doubt, the statute is the answer. By making sure this fact is understood, ESA will cut off on wasting time and resources, put less stress on parents, and ultimately allow students the right to use the program as intended. I want to thank you again for the amazing opportunity to be heard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coco. And after folks are done, if you could also remember to mute yourself afterwards. Staff will probably try to circle up with you to mute. So next we have Joy Brownlee, followed by, and Kat Moore. I see you joined us, so you'll cut in there, and then Kayla. So Joy, you're up.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I'm Joy Brownlee. My family's behind me. In addition to being a parent for children on the ESA, including with special needs, I'm also the vice president of the Multicultural Family Network, a nonprofit to help enhance race relationships and offer programs for at-risk youth. My main concern is the recent transition with Class Wallet is leaving some families without equal opportunities to education. And the reason I say that is because if reimbursement is the only option, that is my concern. So if, for instance, a child needs Barton or a curriculum unique to special needs, and that vendor is not, or provider is not on Class Wallet, and that's the only option that family has to pay, and then they're told, well, you can just do reimbursement. To me, that creates an unjust situation, and equal education is not offered to everyone in that situation. And so including if there's a child with special needs on a vocational program at a school, community college, or even sometimes they have life skill programs through universities. And if those aren't able to be paid through a K-12 Class Wallet option, then those students are not going to have the both educational classes and life skills program that this amazing and life-saving program was designed to address. So that would be my main comment and request to be considered as the rules are being made, that we have an option for all families from all backgrounds to have equal access to payment for the programs, services, and curriculums that they need. Thank you very much for asking for input today. Thank you for the program. It has definitely been life-changing for our children, and I know for many children. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Joy. Next we have Kat Moore, followed by Kayla, and then followed by Chris. So Kat, you are on.
I don't know. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much. And Katra, thank you. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. And thank you so much to the program, because it has truly been life-changing for our son. I battled for years on what he needed, and being able to really control his education and giving him the appropriate supports has been completely life-changing for him. Some of the same issues, like Coco said, the story she mentioned is not isolated. I could take up my time repeating almost verbatim what happened. Again, Carla Escobar is doing a phenomenal job, but it is really, it really is wrong that things have to escalate to her constantly and opportunities are missed, because we experienced that as well over the summer. It was a month and a half, 2 months before we could get pre-approval. And that we're one of the families that haven't fully transitioned to CW. I really see that this is going to be a huge issue, especially for those that have the students with special needs. There's so many other things besides just the core curriculum or education component of it that is really there for those students in order to support them. And the way Class Wallet is working, I just don't foresee it. And vendors are flat out refusing it. I've already reached out to several of our supports. They have all said they will not go to Class Wallet. They will gladly take a visa as they have in the past, but that they really cannot do that. So it is really going to hinder their education and opportunities. And that is probably one of the biggest things that I really want to talk about. I mean, we're almost to the end, but for those students that are coming in early, if they are limited, they will not have the potential. And I think what this really allows is when we see the opportunities for them is for these students to reach their max potential, which in turn makes it less of a burden to the system in the long term. So I think we need to look at things that way. I had planned on starting a database to help the parents, but then with everything with Class Wallet, I decided to sit back and wait and see. But I really think that if there's any way to have a database for approvals for the parents and for the ESA compliance group, I think that would be really beneficial, because that way they know what has been approved and what works for what. And it doesn't mandate or mean that this should be the only limitation, because that's the beauty of ESA. But it would allow a much easier guidance to all. And that way parents, because it really is the amount of work that parents have to do. I'm sure I speak for many of them that we would like it to be easier for us as well, to know that without a doubt, this isn't going to be an issue. And I don't need to do a ton of research to make sure that this is going to follow all of the guidelines, and then I'm going to be in compliance, because I think that's what we feel whether we're on Class Wallet or not. So I think that would be huge. The other thing with COVID-19 is really rethinking the whole idea of allowing electronic devices, because I know the school districts are moving towards that. The other reason is, even if they're not hearing impaired or having another disability, for many of them, just the fine gross motor skills and everything else makes a huge difference. So when my personal child, and we paid for it ourselves for his electronic device, that again was huge, because the time that it took and the amount of processing to have to handwrite things, it just took forever. And this just really stimulated and eased his learning. So again, I would love for at some point for that to be reconsidered. And again, thank you, Catcher, for everything that you're doing. Am I out of time? Because I got a little pop-up and I was looking down at my notes.
You are, yes. The time did expire, but I think we were swapping the screen sharing, so that's what that was. But yeah, you are. My timer is probably not loud enough, so I apologize.
No, I'm sorry, but I saw something. I won't take up any more time. Thank you again for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you, Kat. We appreciate it. Next is Kayla, followed by Chris, followed by Christine, and that's Christine Martin. And that's followed by Christina Manuel. So first is Kayla.
Wait, 1 quick second.
Oh, that's all right.
Of course, I'm sorry. Like right as it came to my time, my 3-year-old busted in my room.
That's all right, Kayla.
Okay. Thank you guys for allowing us to come and make comment again. My name is Kayla Spadine. I am an ESA parent, and I am the founder of the new community nonprofit Empowered Arizona Families, which represents the needs and voices of ESA families in Arizona. I wanted to make a couple points. Joy brought up one of the things that I wanted to talk about, which is the equity issues that we are having in this program as it relates to Class Wallet, and being told by people in the department and people in Class Wallet automatically referring people to reimbursement as their first option, when it should be an option if and only when a family, deems it necessary. Like if there's, some a situation where a family can afford to do it and it's an obscure item that is otherwise unavailable to use, like if we're using our Bank of America cards and the MCC code doesn't work or something, but it's otherwise would be an improved expense, we should be able to be reimbursed for that. However, it should not be a primary means of using this program, especially when the department has unilaterally decided to restrict our option for having a debit card if we are in the Class Wallet system. Class Wallet does allow, they have the ability to use a prepaid card that has the same kinds of restrictions on it as the current Bank of America cards do. But that decision was made to not allow families in the Class Wallet system to use that option. So this is severely limiting the program. And we would call for the implementation of those cards to come back because all of these new families being entered in to the program are coming into a program that is very restricted and unnecessarily so. Because again, I would remind people that the most recent Auditor General's report shows that there is not this rampant fraud that we are being told in the program, that this idea that we are trying to prevent fraud by not allowing the cards is not based in any real evidence because of the most current report that came out detailing that. It provides a huge equity issue in allowing families that are low income to access options that otherwise would be available within the program that are not against statute, but have become unavailable to them because of the unnecessary restrictions being placed by the department. I want to wrap up real quick and say that the department is also creating equity issues by not marketing the program in communities, the rural communities and the low-income communities where there are underperforming schools that for families that would be eligible for the ESA scholarship. And they need to develop marketing plans that include ESA parents to be able to market it genuinely and truthfully without which they have said before that they are not marketing the program, that they cannot sway parents in any way. But as far as SB 1224, they are supposed to be using a portion of their $150,000 for marketing purposes. And as yet, they have no current plans to even begin that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Kayla. Next is Chris Cheswan-Waffle, followed by Christine Martin, followed by Christine Emmanuel. So Chris, you are first up.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I prepared some remarks so that I would stay within my time frame. As an ESA parent of a child on the autism spectrum who also struggles with comorbid medical conditions, this academic year is proving to be especially challenging for us. The difficulties that we face with education are directly attributable to the stress and the restrictions of the COVID-19 pandemic and the challenges that we're currently experiencing, frankly, with the ESA program. We are extremely grateful for ESA, the Empowerment Scholarship Program, and the opportunity that it has provided our son to learn in ways that are most meaningful to him and allow him to grow both academically and socially after the public schools failed him and failed us. The biggest benefit of the ESA program is the ability to customize the curriculum and the academic experiences to the specific needs of a student. I truly believe that Arizona lawmakers were very forward-thinking in both forming this program and continuing to support this program. It is the freedom that it has provided. And that freedom, when it comes to our son, involves the ability to pursue non-traditional pathways to succeed in core subjects. It provides extra support where he needs it. It allows him to pursue subjects that interest him and complement his abilities and allow him the time that he needs to deal with both his academics, his social development, and his medical challenges without the stigmas that he would otherwise experience in a traditional setting. However, I need to point out that it has been an increasingly difficult time, to provide this opportunity to him to meet his needs. The end of 2019, 2020, the end of that academic year and the first quarter of this academic year, our challenges focus primarily on the ESA employees. We have struggled with arbitrary decisions and approvals, inconsistencies with one family being approved for a curriculum, yet another is not, with nonsensical interpretations of the state statute involving the ability or the inability, if you will, to think critically beyond a literal meaning of one word, despite the spirit and intention of the state statute. And an extraordinary amount of time being taken to make a decision on a approval request. Often, we have experienced multiple weeks with no response to repeated inquiries and then a very vague and inconclusive answer to a very direct question, which makes a parent have to go through the whole approval process again from the very beginning or seek intervention from the director. And I must say, she's been very fair-minded. But who certainly has her hands full with a plethora of other duties. So I present these challenges not to criticize any individual, but I present them in the spirit of making things better, to make the approval process more consistent, more timely, less burdensome, and less capricious than it is currently. It's currently, we used to be able to select a program or a course, and as well as the supplemental materials, because we know what works well, we know how our child learns, and we could be confident that we could submit our expense reports and not have any hassles or challenges that were really undue. And it's really no longer the case that we can do that. We're very responsible people. It's my experience that we have been very responsible. And I know because I hear from these other parents, and everyone is very conscientious. I need to just really make that point. But we are at the mercy, if you will, of the employees who enforce the program, and they're taking liberties in interpreting the statute that take away the freedoms that we are granted with the law. So additionally, I want to voice my concern about the new requirement to use Class Wallet. I'm still on the charge card, but this purchasing system will only further restrict our ability to provide the individual programs that our students need. Someone prior to me mentioned, I apologize for joining late, but someone prior to me mentioned about special needs students. I'm feeling that because people who I've spoken to and tried to give them the heads up on it, they don't want to do it. It's too cumbersome. They're worried about operational, financial, security concerns. So I urge the board to please provide an option for spending outside of the Class Wallet system that does not require parents to finance expenses up front and then seek reimbursement. Thank you very much for the hard work that you're doing to help us with this program and to help our students. I appreciate the opportunity to give feedback. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback, Chris. And just also for the record, I am taking notes as I go along here, and I'm sure Alicia is as well. And of course, this will be logged for us to look back on too. So next up, what I think are probably final two, depending on if Jenny Clark is willing and able to provide comment, or if she just wants to listen in. But the next two are Christine Martin, who I think is on the phone, and then Christine Emmanuel. So Christine Martin, you should be getting probably a voice notice to unmute here soon. Okay, Christine Martin, if you can, I'm sorry, we have back-to-back Christines here, so I gotta make sure I use your full name. Christine Martin, if you can hear us, and if you're having problems and can't join us, we'll come back to you. We'll go first to Christine Emmanuel then, and then we'll come back to you, Christine Martin, if that's what it comes. So Christine Emmanuel, you are up if you can hear me and are ready to go.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So I wrote mine because I like to get off track. I don't like to, but I do. So I'm just gonna read off what I wrote. So my name is Christine. I am an ESA parent. I have two children on the Empowerment Scholarship account under special education categories. I have one on the new class wallet system and one on the Bank of America bank card. And I had recently purchased a curriculum for my little guy that's on class wallet. When we received the curriculum, we ended up having to retrieve it from an address that is not and was not on file with ADE at the time of the purchase. We aren't able to change an address in class wallet without contacting class wallet, so I'm not exactly sure where the disconnect is in regards to the addresses that items are sent to, because in the class wallet system we have the correct address in there, and also in the ESA portal the correct addresses in there as well. So that's one of the issues we've had. I'd like to point out that on class wallet, when we do put an order through, we don't always receive a confirmation from the company that we purchased from. And I feel like it's important that parents have access to receipts, confirmations, or even a confirmation email from the company when we make purchases through class wallet. I haven't seen every company send in a confirmation, and at this point I'm unable to figure out what is going on with an order. I have no information about it. I know it shows that it was submitted through the class wallet system, but that's all I know. I'm trying to figure out what is going on with the order. So it's been a couple weeks and still no answer. I did message Carla about it, and I'm still waiting for an answer from her. But so my question is, will my order be sent to the address that's not on file with ADE? There's so much inconsistency that I have to drive all the way across town to a place that I don't live. It's very uncomfortable to have to, pick up a package from someone else's front door, and it's kind of an awkward situation. So I'd like to know if curriculum or items are sent to an address not on file with ADE. How will I know if I don't have any confirmations, any emails? I don't know anything about it. It's sitting in air somewhere in class wallet land. It would be nice to have all of that information so we can get a hold of the company and try to figure out, hey, was it sent to a different address and I don't know anything about it, or maybe it was sent back. There's no there's no way, I guess, to figure that out without having a confirmation number. In regards to expenses, I am understanding that there will be an appeals process for misspent funds. And as a parent of an ESA recipient, I send in an approval request, and the department gets back to me to let me know whether the purchase is allowed or not. I would like to urge the board to adopt a rule to allow for an appeals process on items that have been rejected either through class wallet system, through the ESA help desk, or even through an email from the ESA department before purchases have been made. I mentioned earlier that I have two children on the ESA program, both under special education categories, one on Class Wallet, one on Bank of America. So I still go through the help desk to ask for approvals. I don't just go through Class Wallet. Well, on July 29th, I'm almost done. On July 29th, I sent in an approval request for an item through the new ESA help desk. The ticket was finally resolved over 2 weeks later on August 13th. Since it was an approved item for both of my children, I went ahead and purchased it for my child on the Bank of America card. But when I went to purchase it through the Class Wallet system for my little guy on Class Wallet, the purchase was rejected. It wasn't rejected once, it was rejected 3 different times when I have an approval for it. And I even put, the approval request number, hey, this is the approval request number in help desk, please look at that. And still, it was still rejected. So I would just wanted to say that consistency matters to our kids on ESA. This is why I urge the board to come up with an appeals process for items that are rejected by the ESA department, because even approved items by the department are being rejected. Parents are making an effort to send in approval request numbers attached to the notes in the third-party platform. And even when items are approved on one platform, they are still being rejected or denied on another platform by the department. Our children are the ones losing out, and we really need consistency, and it doesn't seem like it's happening, even with the new help desk, and we really need an appeals process for rejected purchases. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Christine. So last up, because we did get confirmation that this will be the last one, assuming we can get a hold of Christine Martin, and if Christine Martin is able to unmute, then you will be available. Of course, I think I just noticed somebody else is joining us now, who will probably be our last one. But Christine Martin, can you hear me? Are you able to speak now?
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
yeah, we can hear you.
Christine. Hi, this is Christine Martin. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I'll make it really fast, sorry.
Okay.
I am an ESA parent, been in the ESA parent for several years. Absolutely love the opportunity to have my kids both in the Empowerment Scholarship. The only one big concern is the Class Wallet. So if we could kind of have a little bit of consistency for the vendors that are trying to come on, because a lot of the vendors are just not wanting to participate. And because we all have to go over to Class Wallet by the beginning of October, I think. I'm already on Class Wallet with one kid, and the other one is Bank of America, which I'm very thankful for the program, but I am very concerned about the Class Wallet. So that's all I have to say. Sorry, I'm just having phone difficulties. So thank you very much for listening.
No, of course, Christine Martin, thank you. Thanks for providing those public comments, and apologize for any technical issues that might have also been on our end. I don't know, everything going on.
No, that's my end. That's my end. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for your comments. So I noticed we had a couple more people join here. For those who missed kind of my earlier spiel about some things, the slide that's being displayed basically captures it. So if people do keep trickling in as the public hearing is still open, we'll just keep calling on you. So Cheryl, I noticed you jumped on, so you'll be next up, followed by, I think it's Griselle. So Cheryl, you should get a notice here to unmute. Then
Can you hear me?
provide your public comment. Yes, yeah, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted, I was on, I think, the last meeting, and I also am having difficulty with, like I had difficulty with the accredited curriculum. They wouldn't accept the class wallet. My therapists don't accept class wallet, who I'm trying to pay for home therapy right now because, you know, school's virtual. So I'm really struggling with not being able to utilize the money that's in the scholarship because the vendor is not accepting class wallet as a viable option of payment. And I don't think personally as a parent to ask the parents to pay it forward and then wait for reimbursement is appropriate if we've been approved for a scholarship. So I just wanted to provide that feedback. I know you've probably heard it before, but I'm running into 3 of the things that I needed to supply for our daughter. The vendors are not accepting it as a form of payment. So that stops her from getting the services and the resources she needs in a timely fashion. So.
Great. Okay. Well, Cheryl, you still have 1:45 if you want to use up any additional time.
And then my other thing was because I went to Class Wallet thinking, okay, well, let's just, because I'd heard some stuff about the privacy aspect and that you have to share your private banking information to link it to the Class Wallet. And both my husband and I also don't, that feature to me doesn't bode well. Just having those funds connected to your own personal account. So that would mean we'd have to open a different account and pay the yearly due or whatever it is for the savings account that's linked to that Class Wallet to be able to utilize it. So it's just one more thing that if you have a child with disabilities, and that's why we have an ESA, it's just one more thing that makes it a challenge. And currently, I don't need any additional challenges to provide our daughter with the resources and items that she needs to be successful. So, and then I think the only other thing last time I mentioned as well is now that we have so many options with the learning category, I know that a touch screen is not an item that is approved for the ESA, but I just wanted to mention that again, that our daughter, as far as like clicking and using the mouse, her processing is really slow. So having a device that's a touch screen, which we don't have as a family, so I would need to purchase for her directly. It's not an approved item right now, or if it is, you can correct me, but it doesn't appear that it's an approved device for their learning.
And Cheryl, your time did max out there. We reached the limit of your time. So I want to thank you. I do just want to mention that I hope you don't think we're rude or anything, because it is a public hearing. This isn't necessarily, we can't really have a dialogue on some of this stuff. We will have an informal hearing on the 11th probably, where we can have more discussions, or we can always chat after, but I hope you don't think I'm being rude or anything.
No, not at all.
Okay. But thank you. Thank you for your comment, and we made some notes. So now probably last, unless we have other folks who registered start trickling in, is Griselle. And I think Griselle, it's Griselle Perviance. And I really apologize if I got your name wrong.
That's okay. That's okay. That's how you pronounce it.
Great. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Oh, well, I'm just here. I just want to find out what you guys are talking about. I still have the BOA, and we're gonna be going to Class Wallet very soon. If that's what you guys, I mean, do you want me to bring up other concerns that I have, or is it just solely about Class Wallet?
You can bring up any concerns regarding the ESA program or anything you'd like the board to be aware of in the rulemaking process.
Yes, I do. I have two points. One is I know right now with Class Wallet, I think you guys are creating a list of all your providers, like vendors and therapists and such. And I think that's good. But if we're still gonna be for the remainder of the Bank of America, it would be good. It would be good to have that on maybe on our files. Now that you guys are, I don't know, now that you guys are offering those vendors, but instead of us going to you guys all the time and finding out what curriculum is approved, what vendor is approved, or what item is approved, it could be automatically there on the list, and we can just go instead of asking you over and over again. And that would take that takes a lot of time from your staff, and that will save us a lot of time as parents, because we can just go to that file, and if we don't see an item that's approved, then therefore we can just go and request that, and then you guys can add to that list. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
That was one of my observations. And the second one is, this is my first hearing, and I got it. I don't even know who I got it from. I think it was the ESA Facebook. But for some reason, I haven't received these hearings. Yeah, I haven't heard it. So maybe, I don't know if it's from my end, but that's something I didn't even receive an email. This is like the first time that, I had the opportunity to join one of the hearings, which is very beneficial because I need to learn more about what you guys are doing. So pretty much that's my time. That was, yeah.
No, that's great.
And it is very frustrating. I think for me, I'm gonna speak for myself. It is very frustrating to go to your staff, and because of the pandemic, it's so hard we can't even talk to people that they know what curriculums or what are the things. It's just so frustrating. We have to wait 5 days. For every single curriculum or item that we need to get for a child, we have to wait 5 days. And it just takes a lot of our time. So that's why I was thinking the list would be very beneficial for the parents and for your staff.
Okay. Thanks, Krista. And your time expired anyway, so that was a good time to wrap up. And we appreciate it. Thank you for those comments and everybody else's comments as well. I think based on me perusing who is here on the participant list, looks like everybody who's here has had an opportunity to provide comment, and was almost everybody who registered for the public hearing. So we'll probably, this is me wrapping us up now and also stalling in case somebody else pops on who registered to speak. But as I mentioned, we will provide this video and a summary of the comments to the board at the next board meeting on September 28th. We will send out an invite to an informal parent forum on September 11th with a time on that date to be determined. If you were at our other parent forum or informal parent forum, that's more of a discussion and less of a formal and rigid format as we have here. We'll also have folks from the Department of Education there as well to help answer questions or have conversations as it may be. And we will try to get that invite out through that list that we have been using. We'll try to refresh that list because we know a lot of people have jumped on the program even when we first sent it out in May or June. A lot of people getting on the program. over this summer. So we'll try to refresh that list and get it out to folks and appreciate it. Those who do share those invites with other parents who we can't get to make sure that we're getting out there to everybody as possible so that people who want to participate can. So with that, I think we're going to conclude this public hearing. It's 12:56. Really just appreciate everybody taking time out of their day to provide public comment. I know participating in some of these processes are not always the most fun, but we really do appreciate it. Board members do watch it, and we certainly take that feedback and bring it back when we have discussions about what to do with the rules that are currently open. So really do appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and I hope everyone has a great week and maybe get a little rain, a little good rain. So thank you.